Good evening, you're watching The Buck Stops here and I'm Barkha Dutt. On the program this evening on 60 Minutes of Politics Unlimited in election season, we're looking at that big rally in Bihar today where Ram Vilas Paswan, who walked out of the NDA in 2002, shared a stage with Narendra Modi. A stage from where Mr. Modi said secularism for the BJP was an article of faith, taunting other parties for having misused secularism over the years. On the Buck Stops here today, we'll be asking whether secularism has any political relevance as a slogan in this campaign, or is it politically redundant? That's coming up on the Buck Stops here.
आप कहो भाई नौजवानों को रोजगार चाहिए, वो कहते हैं सेक्युलरिज्म खतरे में है। आप कहो महंगाई ज्यादा है, तो बोले सेक्युलरिज्म खतरे में है। आप कहें गरीबों को दो पेट खाना में, तो कहते हैं सेक्युलरिज्म खतरे में है। उनके लिए सेक्युलरिज्म ये राजनीतिक हथकंडा है, हमारे लिए आस्था का विषय है।
So the same Ram Vilas Paswan who walked out of the NDA in 2002 is now not just back with the NDA but shared a stage with Narendra Modi today. A stage from where Narendra Modi, the BJP's prime ministerial candidate, questioned what he called the hypocrisy of other parties when it came to secularism. Will the LJP be able to make a convincing argument before its voters on its flip-flops when it comes to Mr. Modi and the BJP? Joining us now is Chirag Paswan, senior leader of the party, also of course Ram Vilas Paswan's son. Chirag, let me start by asking you, the fact of the matter is that even till recently, Ram Vilas Paswan, your father, the senior leader of the party, was describing the BJP to be Bharat Jalao party. This is what he said, and I have here the quote in front of me, and he even spoke about BJP being the channel and RSS being the transmitter. This is the exact phrase that I have in front of me. The BJP is just a channel, the transmitter is actually RSS. And in this speech in 2013 of August, Ram Vilas Paswan referred to the BJP as Bharat Jalao party. How does your party make a convincing argument today on its change of stand?
See, Varga, I want to put it very, very strongly and very clearly that our alliance with BJP and we being an ally of NDA is out and out issue based. At no point in time we never did, our national president never did, and at no point in time we're going to make any kind of a compromise with our issues, with whatever that the party stands for. Even if it's the word secularism, we're not going to make any kind of a compromise with that. Today also, because the conditions were so, because the way the whole thing shaped up, the situation became such that yes, we had to go in for an alliance with NDA. This was out and out because of the pressure of all our party leaders. They unanimously they wanted that we should, because there was no clarity from Congress and neither from RJD. To an extent that RJD leaders were even giving statements like we're going to contest on all the 40 seats. Max that we can give to LJP is 2 to 3 seats. So because of this, there was a lot of anger between our party leaders and also from our cadres and our voters and all our supporters. They were very, very clear that we should go in for an alliance with BJP and we should support NDA. Is the only reason why we are the part of NDA.
But are you saying that because your talks with the Congress failed, that's why you went towards Narendra Modi? Because Ram Vilas Paswan today has said he looks forward to Mr. Modi being the next Prime Minister. Are you saying that your hand was in a sense forced by the fact that your alliance talks with the Congress failed?
You know, yes, that is definitely yes one of the reasons. I'll not shy away from that. That is definitely yes one of the reasons. And our national president is very clear on the fact that first is the national interest, followed by the party interest, and at the end of everything, if there's anything left, then it's the personal interest. So had it been for the personal interest, our national president would have decided something else. But because the party insisted so much, all our senior leaders and everyone unanimously they were voicing for BJP. Is the reason why yes we are the part of this alliance, only and only in the interest of the party.
What response did you get from the Congress and Rahul Gandhi?
Sorry?
What response did you get from the Congress and Rahul Gandhi?
To be honest, no response. We kept trying to meet Rahul for the past 3 months, not even a single reply from his side. Is yes one of the very, very important reasons why our national president and all our senior party leaders were so angry.
So what I'm hearing from you, Chirag, is that it was more Rahul Gandhi's non-response rather than a belief necessarily in the BJP that made you take that decision, to which critics will say yours and others is these are floating votes and they go towards either one of the national parties. They don't stand by any ideology.
No, of course they do stand by an ideology, and our party is very, very strong. We have our constitution, we have a different manifesto, our ideology is very, very clear. So definitely, yes, there is an ideology. See, this is what I'm repeating again, Bakha. Ours is an issue-based alliance, We have not merged ourselves in BJP, We might have difference of opinion on couple of issues. But what we're going ahead with is a common minimum program in which all the parties agree. And NDA, when we come into, when we form the government, so that will be governed and directed by that common minimum program.
Your father and you shared a stage with Mr. Modi today, from where Mr. Modi spoke about how secularism for him is an article of faith, but for other parties, it is about vote bank politics. Do you believe secularism has any political relevance today? Because whether it's parties like yours that are today back with the BJP, whether it's Jayalalitha who calls Mr. Modi a good friend, whether it's Mr. Karunanidhi who calls Mr. Modi a good friend, what seems to be clear is that secularism is not being framed politically, at least anymore, in terms of support for or opposition to Mr. Modi. So what is the political relevance of secularism today?
Barka, secularism is a thought. It's a very, very strong thought, and someone who believes in it will follow it no matter whatsoever alliance he is a part of. And this is what our national president's done, even before when he was the part of NDA, the day he felt that, there's some kind of an injustice happening with the minorities was the day that he resigned, even in 2005, when we had 29 MLAs, in Bihar, he kept this proposal that whosoever will project a Muslim chief minister, we're going to support that government. So when it comes to secularism, our national president and our party is very, very clear. And the rest, whosoever talks about secularism, I don't understand their concept of secularism, because even Laluji first became chief minister with the support of BJP. And to come to, the term secularism, communalism, yes, everybody is saying that, in 2002 there was these Godhra riots, communal riots, But I also want to put that in 84, also there were communal riots. Those 6 riots were also communal riots. In 89, what happened in Bhagalpur was also communal riots. So, nobody questions when we were in alliance with Congress, even they can be termed as communal.
So are you saying for you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Modi are equally secular today?
No, I'm not saying they're equally secular. What I believe in right now with Mr. Modi is that he's not talking about communalism. He's not talking about anything else. Of late, whatever speeches that you'll listen, you'll hear of Mr. Modi, not even iota % hint of communalism. What he only talks about now is development, which any youngster like me believes in.
Do you believe Mr. Modi is secular?
See, this is what I'm saying. Of late, not even a single speech made by him gives you a hint of communalism.
Let me ask you this. You're a young politician. Who would you have preferred your party to go with? Because you've admitted very candidly that you didn't get a response from the Congress. Did the Congress
to be very honest, I don't know whether I can say this or not, but yes, my personal drift was towards BJP, and I was one of those strong leaders who was voicing very, very strongly in front of our national president that we should go ahead in an alliance with NDA.
So your first choice was the NDA?
Definitely, yes.
Yes. And do you believe the elections have moved on, or the political environment has moved beyond 2002? Do you believe 2002 is still an issue that is alive today?
I think it's high time, Barkha, for national interest. We have to move on. We cannot freeze ourselves in 2002. Much water has flown under the bridge since then, and if you have to really think about development and the betterment of the country and countrymen, we have to put certain things aside. What happened was bad, was very bad, Given a choice, something like that should have never happened. But we cannot freeze ourselves in 2002. We have to move ahead.
Chirag Paswan, thank you so much for talking to us. Chirag Paswan saying that the Congress didn't even respond. There wasn't a response from Rahul Gandhi. But he believes that Mr. Modi is talking about development, not about religion. Moving on now to our big political debate tonight. Narendra Modi and Ram Vilas Paswan shared a stage in Bihar. Paswan, of course, had left the NDA in 2002. Today, he said Mr. Modi was the best man to be the Prime Minister of India. From the stage, Narendra Modi spoke about secularism. He said secularism was an article of faith for the BJP, but other parties had only used it as a tool of divide and rule and vote bank politics. As we look at the different statements made by different leaders on secularism, we ask whether secularism has any relevance as a political slogan in campaign 2014.
आपने बार बार कहा है घटनाएं घट जाती है, हर 12 साल पर युग बदलता है। आज क्या कहते हैं कि गुजरात ऐसा देश है कि 2002 के बाद कोई घटना नहीं घटी, और यही बिहार देश है, प्रदेश है कि जहां कोई महीना नहीं आता है कि जहां कम्युनल राइट्स नहीं होता है। देश की बागडोर आपके हाथ में जा रही है और आपका नैतिक दायित्व बनता है कि चाहे दलित हो, चाहे पिछड़ा हो, चाहे अल्पसंख्यक हो, चाहे नौजवान हो, चाहे महिलाएं हो, इन सारे लोगों का जो हित है, इन सारे लोगों का जो हित है, जीवन आपके हाथ में जा रहा है।
आप क्या समझ रहे हैं? आप माफी मांग रहे हैं, कत्ल करा के माफी मांग रहे हैं। ये आपकी चाल, अब वोट के लिए हर तरह से जीत करके दिल्ली पे कब्जा करना चाहते हो, ये सपना साकार नहीं हो पाएगा।
उनके लिए सेक्युलरिज्म नाकामियों को छुपाने का बहाना है, हमारे लिए सेक्युलरिज्म विकास का नया रास्ता बनाना है। भाइयों बहनों, उनके लिए सेक्युलरिज्म रिलीजन फर्स्ट होता है, हमारे लिए सेक्युलरिज्म इंडिया फर्स्ट होता है।
Narendra Modi says that the hypocrisy of other parties when it comes to secularism is really only the politics of vote banks, that the secularism that the BJP believes in is an article of faith. Today, as he shared the stage with Ram Vilas Paswan, that's what Narendra Modi was arguing, that secularism today is in a sense been exposed for its political hypocrisy in the way that it has been invoked by other parties. On this program today, we're asking whether secularism, while it remains an idea that is central to India and how India sees herself, is an idea that has become redundant as a political slogan. Let's introduce our guest this evening. Joining us from the Congress is Manishankar Iyer, senior leader of the party. With me in the studio, Nirmala Sitharaman, senior leader of the BJP. Joining me also is Pawan Verma. He's of course with the Janata Dal United and advisor to Nitish Kumar's government. Also joining us tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, senior leader of the Samajwadi Party, which has come under particular attack by Narendra Modi in his Lucknow rally. Also with me in the studio, Swapan Das Gupta, senior commentator and journalist, and Shahid Siddiqui, editor of Nai Dunya, also joins us on the panel this evening. Let me start with you, Nirmala Sitharaman, if I may. It's a bit confusing. Is Mr. Modi saying that secularism, as it has been invoked by other parties, is hypocritical? Or is Mr. Modi saying that this entire concept of secularism is politically redundant? I ask this especially because it was the BJP under L.K. Advani which first cast secularism as pseudo-secularism, questioning what the BJP believed was its shallowness or its hypocrisies. Is secularism a political issue for the BJP or not?
Not in the way in which it has been debated in the last 3-4 decades, since the time it has been forcefully put into the directive principles of state policy. But the fact remains, to the preamble, not so much to the fact remains that the discussions have always centered around using the secularism card to identify one party as not being so secular compared to the rest. The pseudo-secular argument, about which I think you've had several debates.
What is secularism for the BJP?
Treat all religions equal.
Is it an important principle? Is it an important principle?
It is important to the extent that India is multi-religious. But at the same time, the way in which it has been twisted, tweaked and taken up as and when it is convenient, it has brought in a certain color to the debate, which was unwarranted. India has always remained truly, I don't want to use the words secularism because it has come out of a European context which is very typical to them. But India has always treated all religions equal. That is why we say Sarva Pantha Samabhav. So there is no way in which we have to go into this contrived debate, as it were. And therefore, to that extent, it is definitely a debate which is conveniently picked up as and when it is required for electoral purposes, which is what we come down to talking when we talk about vote bank politics.
Okay, Manishankar Iyer, even Jawaharlal Nehru said famously that secularism was not the perfect word, but he used the word in the absence of a better word. Since then, there have been commentators who said that they far prefer the word pluralism to describe India's religious diversity, the need for coexistence, the need for cohabitation, because secularism has become, in a sense, a subverted political slogan. Would you at least accept that today it is a maligned word, it is a word that has been distorted and mauled by political hypocrisies, and to that extent, when Ram Vilas Paswan, who walked out in 2002, today says he hopes Narendra Modi will be Prime Minister, when Jai Lalita describes Mr. Modi to be a good personal friend, when Mr. Karunanidhi describes Mr. Modi to be a good personal friend, secularism, in the absence of anything else, can no longer be used or can no longer be embraced as a point of political distinction. It's not going to get any party votes, not secularism by itself.
I don't see secularism as a political slogan. I see it as a political philosophy. I also see it as the single most important strand of any political philosophy, because the way in which one defines secularism also defines India's nationhood. And if words like Hindutva are used, whose author, V.D. Savarkar, a man with impeccable English, had translated himself into the English word Hindudom as the equivalent of Christendom. And if such Hindudom is sought to be confused with Bharatiyata and Rashtriyata and Indian nationhood, then we've really got a serious political, philosophical problem on our hands.
Okay, can I ask you though?
People can use the same words
Yes.
to mean different things. But any philosophy which privileges people belonging to one religion, and the word Hindu applies to those who are Hindus and cannot be applied to those who do not regard themselves as Hindus. I do not think we can get away from the philosophical issue of secularism in the politics of India until we get rid of this fundamental concept of Hindutva, which is at the basis of the Sangh Parivar's politics and philosophy of life.
May I just ask you briefly though, Manishankar Iyer, which party for you, because clearly you're saying the BJP for you is not secular. Is Jai Lalita secular? Is Jai Lalita, who today has a seat-sharing alliance with the left, secular because she hasn't yet entered an alliance with Narendra Modi? Is Jagan Reddy secular even though, or till such time that he talks to Narendra Modi? Is the Congress's secularism only to be defined by those who do not do business with Mr. Modi? So is Ram Vilas Paswan today secular? Is Ram Vilas Paswan today, who was with you all these years, today secular or not secular for you?
There are numerous political parties which do not wish to be with the Congress and yet who are secular. I think Nitish Kumar is one of the most secular politicians in India, even though he hates my party. I think the left are a very, very secular lot, even though they want to see my party buried.
Okay.
I think the Samajwadi Party, the BSP, there are numerous parties in this country which I would describe as secular, but there is one set of parties led by the BJP who are the propagators of this pernicious philosophy of Hindutva, who cannot by definition be secular because they privilege one community over another and regard any sensitivity towards the minority communities as tushtikaran, a very vulgar word that they have introduced into our politics after they started the Rath Yatra.
Now the point is, you describe the Samajwadi Party as one of those parties that you would call secular. This is something that I think almost nobody would accept today after what happened in Muzaffarnagar. Gaurav Bhatia, the fact of the matter is that the Samajwadi Party has lost, some would say, its moral right to preach secularism to anybody, and the statistics tell their own story. And I just want to bring up this graphic. This is placed before Parliament by the Ministry of Home Affairs. It shows communal incidents, the number of people killed or injured for 2 years, 2012 and 2013. Now, these are figures that we are just quoting. We've not done any data crunching here. Look at these figures. Uttar Pradesh actually has the highest number of communal incidents, 118 in 2012, 250. Mr. Modi actually said 150, but it's actually more. It's 250 until October 31st, 2013. There are a number of Congress states as well. Maharashtra, for example, there is a higher number of communal incidents than Gujarat. Gujarat had 57 in 2012 and 61 in 2013. These are not riots, they're classified as communal incidents. Maharashtra had 94 in 2012, 64 in 2013. And since Pawan Verma is here, let's take a look at Bihar as well. 21 communal incidents in 2012, 48 in 2013. These are the UPA's own figures from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Gaurav Bhatia, on the Samajwadi Party's watch, the highest number of communal incidents anywhere in the country. How can the Samajwadi Party still claim to be secular?
Barkha, I would answer your question very categorically. Number of incidents that you're showing on the screen, I also incidentally had taken out the same chart. This was placed by the Home Minister on the floor of the House. 57 incidents in Gujarat with a 60 million population, which is less than 1/3 of UP's 200 million population. UP has 92 communal incidents. Gujarat has 57. If you multiply it by 3 in terms of the population that exists in the state, I think the incidence would be higher in Madhya Pradesh as well as Gujarat. Please do that, okay? You cannot compare a state which has a population of 200 million with a population of 60 million. Having said that, I would again say Muzaffarnagar riots was orchestrated by the BJP itself for political gains.
But it happened on Akhilesh Yadav's
why
watch.
I say this is,
what you say about Mr. Modi in 2002 must be applied to Mr. Akhilesh Yadav in Muzaffarnagar. If those riots, happen on Mr. Modi's watch, what happened in Muzaffarnagar happened on Akhilesh Yadav's watch. And Mulayam Singh, if Mr. Modi stands accused of not meeting riot victims, Mulayam Singh Yadav stands accused of saying the riot victims don't even exist. So what is the difference? Now
let me answer your question. In the 2002 Gujarat riots, during trial, the ministers of the Gujarat government have been convicted. In the case of Muzaffarnagar, again, the suspicion and accused are BJP MLAs. So in both cases, there is one thing common, that is participation of the BJP. Secondly, please also understand that state of UP extended all relief and rehabilitation to these victims. Whereas if I can just quote what Mr. Modi said on 9 September 2002, he said, what brother should we run relief camps for the riot victims? And he said, should I start children producing centers there? Hame 5, hamare 25.
No, where are you quoting this from?
I'm sorry.
Where are you? Once again, where are you quoting this from? Where are you quoting this from?
It's in the public realm,
the details. I am quoting from the Narendra Modi speech on 9 September 2002, and it has been widely published in all newspapers. So he said, which religious sect is coming in the way? This is the thinking of
please don't take it all out of context.
Of the BJP.
Okay, 1 minute. You haven't answered.
Out of context.
Now the problem is let me get Nirmala to respond to that.
I wanted to ask you, Barkha. Was there any minister who was convicted in the Muzaffarnagar riots?
No, because you protect Azam Khan in spite of the sting.
Violence?
But Gaurav Bhatia, Azam Khan was on a paid jamboree He was on a paid jamboree instead of being in the Muzaffarnagar relief camps. Mulayam Singh Yadav didn't pay one trip there. You had Bollywood stars voting in Saifai. So the point is this. I'll allow Nirmala a quick rebuttal there, and then I want to broaden this. The point is, 1 minute, Gaurav. If you just want to respond to what Gaurav
only to say, I can. If he's shown me 3, which I will question the context from where he's picked up, I will show you 20,000 on which Mr. Modi has timely responded and spoken about. This has been spoken for the last 10 years. We've had a lot of facts coming over to the public domain. Now, conveniently, instead of, Mr. Bhatia, hold on a minute. Instead of responding to the cold winter in which you saw the camps being shown by the media, where people were shivering and you had this massive jamboree in Saifai, and before that, when the media caught Mr. Azam Khan giving orders to the police, and on which till today we have not even heard.
Incorrect.
I'm
it's
sure, this is factually incorrect, but you can take a speech out of the context.
Is not willing to hand over the script to the Speaker of the Assembly.
1 minute, Mr. Bhatia.
I think you're not aware of that.
No, just as you are not aware about 10,000 speeches of Mr. Modi. So, these are all well discussed. All that I'm trying to say is, in the current context where even the court trial proceedings, nothing has moved forward in Muzaffarnagar, I don't think the government the Samajwadi government or its spokespersons are coming out with the entire detail. But if you get back to the core of the discussion of today, secularism, that is a classic case in Uttar Pradesh where they are getting away without giving answers. Whereas till yesterday, 12 years, we have been talking, 10 years, we've been talking and talking about Gujarat, and rightly so, we've answered. We've not run away from debates. But at the same time, when you compare it with Samajwadi, you only have a long way to go for them to say why 250 and what exactly happened till it precipitated for Muzaffarnagar.
Now, can I respond?
No, wait, Gaurav. We're trying to look at the larger argument around secularism. And Swapan, my question is this. Would it be 1 minute? I will come back to you. Yes, I will come back to you. We're not going anywhere. My question is this, Swapan, that would it be fair to say that the political argument around secularism is so fickle, for lack of another word, because you have the same Mr. Paswan who called BJP Bharat Jalao party till 2 years ago, today sharing the stage with Mr. Modi. You have the Samajwadi party today exposed for what happened in Muzaffarnagar. But secularism or pluralism as an idea central to India remains, but politically it seems to have been buried.
See, there are 2 facets of this secularism debate which we can take note of. One is purely at the realm of ideas, where people like Manishankar Iyer can be the certifying authorities to decide who is secular and who is tainted. But far more important, in taking it out of the seminar rooms, I think you have in the political realm a form of secularism which has been in play, which has been shown time and time again to be a very negotiable commodity. You show me how much support some person has, then I'll decide whether that person is acceptable, whether he is secular, he's not secular, he's pseudo-secular, he's whatever it is. So secularism has been a very expedient instrument with which you often play identity politics.
Given that people can see that it is a negotiable commodity, the voters can see this, the voters can see all those parties who have, the floating vote, as it were called, the floating parties that will align themselves with either the Congress when it suits them or the BJP when it suits them. But in the past have invoked secularism to define their ideologies. Given that the voter can see that, what does this word, what is the resonance of this word today? Is it, would you say it's politically irrelevant?
I don't think it has any resonance in the 2014 election.
It's an irrelevance?
In the warm-up to this election campaign, there were a lot of people who tried to make this the central issue. That did not actually invoke any response from the electorate. If we can sort of divide India into the culture wars and the economic wars, I think in this election the culture wars have been put aside and we are talking really about governance, etc. That is not to say that those conflicts don't exist, that there are no other fault lines in society. I think those incidents which you mentioned using the Ministry of Home Affairs figures aren't necessarily revealing as far as communal clashes are concerned, but it does suggest that often and regardless of who is in power, there are clashes which take place, and it is impossible in India to stop that. It's impossible. I don't think that's a measure of what is. But I think it's important to know, and I think this is the point which has to be driven, that this is an election which is not being fought along Hindu-Muslim lines. This is not an election which is being fought along other identity issues, and we should celebrate that.
So it is so interesting you should say that, because Mr. Modi, in an interview to Reuters, I think, said that he would be okay with being described as a Hindu nationalist.
Yeah.
If you say that this is not an election that at least the BJP, or actually maybe anybody, is being able to fight on identity politics, what did that statement, I have it here before me, I'm nationalist and a born Hindu, so yes, you can say I'm a Hindu nationalist. What does this statement mean if religion is an irrelevance in this election?
I think what Mr. Modi says is that he believes that his self-identity is one of a Hindu, his self-identity is one of a nationalist. But when it comes to the public realm, when it comes to articulation of politics, when it comes to the question of governance, when it talks about the future of this country, we are not taking these into account. But of course, certain philosophical bearings, certain other mindset issues do come into play. But overall, this is not an election. And I repeat, this is not to say future elections won't be that way.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, this is an election where these sort of issues are no longer important. This is not going to be important for this election, however much people try and inject it.
Pawan Verma, would you agree with that? Because I have here a piece that you wrote where you actually were candid enough to admit that secularism is a word that has been disfigured. It's an idea that's been disfigured by the expediency of politics. Now, if we are all honest enough to acknowledge that, where does that leave secularism as a point of relevance for the Indian voter? I'm not saying that pluralism is not at the heart of the idea of India. I'm talking about whether it has any relevance in the electoral arena.
Barkha, first of all, let us admit that the word secularism as a political tool has been misused. It's misused by those parties which have a particular resonance with the majority community. It has been misused by parties which speak for the minorities or in their name. However, as you yourself said, the concept is exceptionally relevant. And I want to just make 2 or 3 points. First of all, when Swapan says that in this election, governance is the issue, I want to ask a question. What is the conflict between governance and religious harmony? In fact, I want to go further to say that governance and religious harmony for a country like India are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. The second point I want to make is, there has been no election in the past where I believe the danger of India voting along religious divides is greater. And I want to say to you that it was neither the vision of India in 1947 nor can it be the compulsion or reality of India today to have even a leader who wins on the basis of a permanent divide between religious communities in India. Third point I want to say, that when you debunk secularism from the BJP point of view, I want to say between what they are saying and what they are meaning, there is a gulf. Let me give you just 2 small examples. 18th June 2013, Mohan Bhagwat of the RSS says, Hindutva is the only solution for India. 2nd August 2013, Mr. VP Singhal says, Hinduism is the only force which can make India a #1 power. Now, between justice for all and India first, what its real meaning is being voiced by the front organs and cadres of the BJP, with the backing of the BJP leadership, which wants to speak of governance and pursue Hindutva. That is dangerous.
I'll put that.
All parties may have misused it, but that is dangerous.
The question is, isn't it dangerous, equally dangerous, when all parties misuse it? And you have, of course, the BJP will quote Justice J. Swarma's judgment saying that Hindutva is a way of life. Can the BJP afford to really pursue its own agenda, even including issues like the Mandir in an age of coalition politics? Shahid Siddiqui, come in on this. The fact of the matter is that you had this very interesting phenomenon, which I want to put to Nirmala in a moment, of Rajnath Singh talking about an willingness to apologize for any wrongs committed. When he was addressing the BJP's minority cell, he was reaching out obviously to the Muslim voter. Later the BJP said this is not an apology for 2002, it's for any future errors that may take place. Do you believe A, that secularism is politically redundant, and if it is, why isn't there a healthier or a more connected relationship between the BJP and the Muslim voter?
Barkha, secularism is extremely important to the idea of India, to the very existence of India. But it has been misused so much by so-called secular parties to get votes. I mean, it has become a tool to get the Muslim votes. So even if a Togadia addresses a Muslim gathering, he will start talking of secularism. Secularism is not about communal riots. Secularism is not about an apology. Secularism is about a plural society where everybody gets a level playing field and the equal opportunities are not discriminated in the name of religion.
What did Rajnath Singh's apology statement mean to you, Shahid Siddiqui?
It's an effort by him to say that, look, we are ready to change, we want to change, and we want you to come. We are coming forward, and we also want the Muslim votes to come to power. We are trying to emerge as an alternate centrist party with a development agenda. And like any other party, Mamata Banerjee was with BJP, now she is secular. Now in Gujarat, Mr. Waghela, who was with RSS, who was with Vishnu Parishad, suddenly becomes secular when he joins the Congress party. Mr. Chhagan Bhujbal becomes secular when he leaves Shiv Sena. So if I speak as a Muslim, to me all these things really don't matter. It's a tool to get Muslim votes and to befool them, and that's why the word has lost its relevance. Not the idea, but the word has lost its relevance. It has become abused in today's politics.
Mani Shankar Iyer, respond to the examples listed by Shahid Siddiqui. Is Shankar Singh Waghela more secular because he's with the Congress despite his long association with the Sangh? Chhagan Bhujbal, the examples given are very valid. Sanjay Nirupam, he's your spokesperson today, Sanjay Nirupam.
All these people have a doubtful past, but they disavow that past. And unless, as congressmen, they were to demonstrate a continual allegiance to that false philosophy of Hindutva, I'm ready to take them at face value until I am disproved. And certainly I do not think the Congress party...
So
let me finish.
Yeah, okay. Okay, finish please. Please finish your point.
I don't think any of these three people constitute in any sense the vanguard of the party. And the vanguard of the party has a commitment to a set of beliefs which is the opposite of the Hindutva set of beliefs. And I don't think Muslim voters are so innocent or so stupid as Shahid Siddiqui portrays them to be. They have the brains to understand who is on their side and who is not on their side. And that is why sometimes they are with us and sometimes
how they have been taken for a ride.
But I do not hold the Muslim voter in such contempt as to suggest that he constitutes a vote bank.
No, you are
this
taking
is a communal
money.
Word
you are a wonderful
invented by the BJP,
secularist,
and picked up by people like Shahid Siddiqui, who want to have a monopoly over secularism.
No, money. You have all the monopoly. I have no intention of doing that. But the way you have used this to get Muslim votes, you don't talk about secularism for India. You talk about secularism for Muslims. Whenever you address Muslim meetings, you talk of secularism. When you address other meetings, nobody talks of secularism. And Shankar Singh Waghela was the president of the
Congress party. I spent a lifetime talking about it. I have spent a lifetime talking about it.
The ideas of Savarkar or the RSS.
Sri Krishna Commission report mentioned people like Chhagan Bhujbal and others who participated in the riots, but they were given a clean sheet because they had joined the Congress party. And that's happening with all the political parties today. Nitish Kumar is secular because he is not with the BJP. Tomorrow he may join BJP. So this is not the way you should have used secularism.
Okay.
And that's why secularism has become
I would like to come in.
Okay, one second, Gaurav, I'm coming to you right after this. Swapan, my question is this. Does the BJP have a problem in quoting the Muslim voter? I understand from Shahid Siddiqui that the Muslim voter is also cynical, and I will get all the politicians in, but I want your perspective on what Rajnath Singh was trying to do. What was he trying to do with that apology? Did that boomerang? Because if Mr. Modi has taken the position that after the court upholding the SIT on 2002, there is no need for an apology, what was Mr. Rajnath Singh's apology for?
Well, I think for that you have to ask Mr. Rajnath Singh.
How do you interpret it?
I cannot be the oracle. I cannot interpret. I would not presume to interpret Mr. Rajnath Singh.
Do you believe that statement was
profound as he may be?
Do you believe the statement was confusing?
That's really up to Mr. Rajnath Singh to say. But I think what the larger point is that yes, there is a certain block as far as the Muslim community is concerned vis-a-vis the BJP.
Is that the BJP's failure? Is that the BJP's failure?
I think it would naturally, in any political party, if it fails to appeal to a certain section of the population, it would count as a failure. But I think that to the credit of the BJP, I think it has also at the same time desisted from certain short-term measures like the Prime Minister's statement that the minorities in India have the first claim on the resources. Now, to my mind, if there is something which breaks the secular code, it is a statement like that. It antagonizes the other communities, makes the
without giving anything to the minorities.
Without delivering anything to the minorities. Now, you see, there have been moments in history when certain communities do not vote for a political party. 1946 is a classic example when the entire Muslim vote went solidly against the Congress, and the Congress was painted as a communal organization. That didn't necessarily make the Congress a communal organization. Yet, by 1952, you saw a complete U-turn as far as Muslim opinion was concerned. So there have been occasions and moments. Now, I think in today's India, in the election of 2014, the BJP is presented with a great opportunity of making nominal breakthroughs. I don't think it will make dramatic breakthroughs, but at least if they can allay fears, if they can get rid of the sense of alarmism, oh, the BJP is coming, the BJP is coming, the juju man Modi, if they can break that mental block, I think they would have achieved a considerable amount of they would have got genuine political mileage, and more important, I would think they would have strengthened the belief in secularism.
Nirmala,
Barkha, may I come in here for a minute?
Okay, for a minute and then Nirmala and then Gaurav. Yes. Okay, Pawan, go ahead.
Barkha, ultimately, the Muslims should not be treated as some kind of dumb puppets hanging on the coattails of politicians. They are citizens of India. They can gauge and judge who is with them or not, and therefore, as Shahid says, they want to see what parties have done for them on the ground. Lalu Yadav made a big plank of arresting Mr. Advani, and after that it was all rhetoric. He did nothing on the ground.
Nothing.
I can say this with humility that Mr. Nitish Kumar did a great deal for the minorities who were on the lowest rung of the socio-economic ladder, just as he did so for the Mahadalits and the Ati Pichdas.
Okay.
I can say
Bhagalpur right also,
in Gujarat, for instance, in Gujarat, can I say one thing? In Gujarat, if Mr. Modi believes in justice for all, I want to ask a question. People are watching. Why has he never once visited the thousands of victims of the Gujarat riots in Ahmedabad, living in the most appalling conditions? This is shining Gujarat. We have a leader who speaks for justice for all.
Let me take that to Nirmala Sitharaman.
In this country.
Okay, I have just 2 minutes left, so Nirmala Sitharaman, quickly. It's an important question, and the question is this: that if Mr. Modi,
I was waiting for my turn.
Yes, Gaurav, coming to you right after this. If Mr. Modi can visit the victims of the Patna blasts, for example, at his rally, he made a special trip to visit them. Why would he not meet the riot victims, especially after you have a certain moment in the legal process now, which perhaps you did not have earlier? Quite simply, everybody's seen Mr. Modi's decisive side. In many ways, his decisive leadership is said to be his great advantage in this campaign. Is it time to see his softer side? Is it time for him to be softer than harder? Why doesn't he meet the riot victims?
And would not Mr. Vajpayee have gone?
Okay, now let her answer, please.
You know, it's interesting. You start with the debate on secularism, and finally it comes down to the last 2 minutes as the BJP representative as to why Mr. Modi wouldn't want to do this, why Mr. Modi would want to do that. Shows how the mood of the country is. You want Modi for every debate. You want to come down to talking only about him, irrespective of, you know, speaking for him or against. You want that debate to focus on his activities. That shows the mood of the nation today. One. Second, talking about Modi visiting them, not visiting, he has visited them. But the discussion now is not on what he did in 2002 to 2012. We've had that tiringly spoken about. But today I want to raise this question. Similar questions about any other leader is never sustained. I've repeatedly asked this question, even in a panel with Mr. Pawan Verma. Why was the hesitation to arrest the person who was brought in by the intelligence? Pakistani, the Indian Bhatkal, Yasin Bhatkal, you didn't want to arrest because you were scared that it might ruffle the feathers of the minority community.
Not at all,
Mr. Verma, 1 minute. The last 2 minutes, right? The last 2 minutes, the strategy is don't allow the BJP spokesperson to speak. Everybody else is silent. But Modi is the center of the debate. Modi is the center of the debate. I think it is important that we do not get back to that pseudo-secularism debate, in spite of all that we are talking, that today's the aspiration classes are asking for, show us where the work is. In Gujarat, you may show the number of incidents.
How did you read, ma'am, since you are an official spokesperson of the party, how did you read Rajnath Singh's apology? How did you read Rajnath Singh's apology?
He was addressing a gathering of Rashtriya Muslim Manch, and he was trying to tell them that we have shown in our performance in various states that communal harmony is maintained. A first criteria for the first argument Mr. Verma brought in, that they are two sides of the same coin. Yes, if you maintain a harmonious society, you are able to go ahead with development without discrimination against or for any community. Okay. And that was proved in Madhya Pradesh, proved in Chhattisgarh.
So he was not apologizing for 2002.
And therefore, Rajnath Ji's statement was more to say, even if in case in future something happens, we will be here for being accountable.
Okay.
Now to distort that and then say, well, was it already an apology of 2002? No. 2002, I think everybody is tired of talking about it because their facts don't hold good anymore.
Okay. Gaurav Bhatia, 30 seconds, please. I've got to end. Gaurav, please.
Yeah, if it's not an apology for 2002, it's even worse. I think Mr. Narendra Modi
get on with Muzaffarnagar, sir. Enough of talking about 2002.
BJP. Now, when Babri Masjid was demolished, I think that wasn't secularism. When Mr. Subramaniam Swamy says that declare India as a Hindu Rashtra, it is definitely not secularism. And Mr. Narendra Modi does not even find one minority person to represent him in the assembly elections is definitely not secularism.
That is why he got the votes in Muslim majority pockets.
That is not inclusive.
Muslim majority pockets are voted for BJP.
Okay,
don't miss out on that.
Secularism is about India, modern India.
Thinking is.
Got to end. Shahid Siddiqui.
I think we should set up a new Indian secular standards, anoint Manishankar Iyer to decide who is secular, who is not, and finish the debate.
Manishankar Iyer, would you like to respond to that as we end?
Why waste my time on this hamstered Hindu?
Oh God.
Swapan?
No, it's a compliment.
All right, Shahid Siddiqui,
at least I know where to live.
Shahid Siddiqui, you get the last. You get the last word.
Barkha, today this debate is not very relevant because minorities are equally unhappy with the Congress party. It has been making them promises after promises. So Muslims are not going to vote just because they are showing the threat or the hawa of the Modi or the BJP. The issue is the corruption which has taken place in last 5 years, the non-governance of 5 years.
Okay.
The alternative, whatever is the alternative is emerging, whether minorities like it or not, and minorities must also accept that reality. The reality is changing in the country, and that reality has to be understood and to be absorbed.
We'll have to leave it there. The fact of the matter is, we all seem to agree that politically, at least, secularism is a much abused, distorted word. But at the heart of the idea of India, pluralism remains central to this country. It is an imperative, not an option. We leave it there. Thanks very much.